So, in your mind, what is affordable housing? What is your definition of affordable housing? How do you see that? And is there a path to your vision of affordable housing in East Dallas?
So it's funny that you bring that up. One of the reasons why we moved here is my husband and I are both in IT, and we left the Bay Area after 20 months, 3 weeks, 5 days, and 8 hours. And I really do count it down to that extra day that we had to stay there. We're fortunate that we both have good jobs, and after 8 years of being together, we finally bought a house, and we chose here in Dallas. And we had moved from DC to Minneapolis to the Bay Area, and then we chose here.
Mm-hmm.
It was always for his job, but here we chose. And while we could choose to live anywhere in the country, one of the things that really struck me hard living in California is renting is difficult, let alone choosing to own a home. And it made me angry. It made me every day I was angry because I would see people who were working in restaurants or police officers or educators having to have subsidized housing even though they had full-time jobs and living in small places, whereas essentially a 1% group could live in nice places and houses, and that angered me. And I don't think I was the only one who was angry. I think it leads to a lot of the social problems you see in California, and so I wanted to be in a community where people, regardless if they had multiple degrees like I do or hadn't finished high school, but if they worked hard, they had a good chance of enjoying the fruits of their labor. And if renting a nice place or even owning their own home. And what's so amazing about Dallas is that the median home price here is $244,000, which places it within reach of working class families. And maybe, generational groups have to do it together, but it's possible. When we lived in Redwood City, which is right next to Silicon Valley, we had a 2-bedroom apartment that was 900 square feet, and it costs more than the 4-bedroom house that we have here, plus the insurance, plus the property tax. And I'm telling you this because we became friends with a married couple who had 3 children who lived in the same size apartment, and it was subsidized. And the father got up and he started work at 4, and then he would finish and pick up the kids from school, and the mother would, they never saw each other, and that's wrong. So for me, affordable housing means that people who are it's that working class people have a chance to work. Now, it's not just working class people. We also have senior citizens, people on fixed incomes who have disabilities, and I think it's very important for us to make sure that the pockets of Dallas that are affordable don't get gobbled up. And one of the things that's been happening around the world and around the country is 25% of the rental property in California is actually owned by Chinese investment companies. Most people don't know that. It puts an incredible price upwards. Vancouver decided to do a tax to make it more expensive for foreigners to buy. New Zealand banned it. And I actually do think that we need to have a heart-to-heart discussion with our developers, with our rental owners, and with the community at large, is how are we going to grow our city, because it's growing at 300 to 400 people a week, but who's buying the means to build this new housing?
So what policies do you think the city council can think about and enact that would create this path for your definition of affordable housing?
So the city council can either say we're not going to allow foreign companies to invest and build, or they can say we'll let anyone invest and build, but if they're from outside Texas or outside the United States, they have to apportion enough of their money to building affordable housing. So the other thing that's happened is in California, LA, where my sister lives, it cost $500,000 to build a 2-bedroom apartment. San Francisco, it's $750,000 to build the same one. And a lot of that also has to do with California's a very over-regulated state. I mean, you cannot put in a window without making sure it's the type of window. So I think that city council can come up with ways of setting regulations that allow us to grow the way we need to. We're looking at about 412,000 new people in Dallas in the next 20 years with the current growth rate. So we're going to grow, and that's going to impact a lot of things. But we shouldn't grow so much that the people who were born and raised here, I've met so many wonderful people, like my friends who are here with me today, and just block walking and things. We shouldn't grow so much that the people who've lived their whole lives here and their parents and their grandparents, that they're pushed out because they can't afford it. This doesn't mean that I'm against progress. This doesn't mean I'm against wealth building. It doesn't mean that I'm against, nice shiny buildings being built. That's not it. But it has to be done with a way of making sure that we don't leave behind people who've worked to be here, who've contributed to what makes Dallas great, while other people are also gaining wealth.